Oh, you got Renfrew. Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the sombre riding of Algonquin, Renfrew-Pembroke. Yesterday, a young father was assassinated on a college campus. This summer has revealed the truth. The threat of violence has become so great that municipal governments claimed it was impossible to hold a small concert in a park. This week, we learned Tennis Canada has decided that spectators would be banned from watching a tennis match between Canadian tennis players and Israeli tennis players due to the threat of violence from supporters of Hamas. Recently, Australia kicked out Iranian embassy staff after it was revealed they had orchestrated the firebombings of synagogues in Australia. Synagogues in Canada have been repeatedly targeted with firebombs and shootings. The legacy media only even reported incidents of firebombing the schools after being shamed into doing so by Rebel News. When small concerts were censored this summer, the legacy media's reaction was odd. Instead of taking these municipal governments at their word, that the concerts had to be canceled because the threat of violence was so great, the coverage suggested it was censorship. Now, the City of Montreal was fairly explicit in that it tried to censor the concert and punished the church for allowing music to be played inside it. The concert shutdowns left Canadians with a stark choice of what to believe. Either municipal governments are happy to censor views, or the threat of violence is so great that insufficient police could be deployed to protect the concert goers. Given how widespread wokeism and far left ideologies have spread to municipal governments, it's easy to think this is just about censorship. But the actions of Tennis Canada and the public displays of intimidation by the pro-Hamas crowd prove that those seeking to terrorize Canadians are winning. The only defense against threats and violence is courage. Rather than canceling concerts or tennis matches, Canadian governments must send the opposite message, that these events will proceed peacefully no matter what the cost. If we need to deploy 1,000 police officers to allow a concert with 200 attendees, we must do so. We must stand on guard for freedom and democracy. While cowardly governments are hiding from criminals marauding our streets, Canadians are forced to confront violent criminals in their own homes. For over 30 years, crime in Canada had been on the decline. Then, the Trudeau Liberals arrived with their soft-on-crime policies, and crime went up. Last month, a wanted criminal, a man that police were supposed to be searching for, broke into an apartment with a crossbow. The victim defended himself from the attacker with a knife. The police arrested the victim. That this crossbow-armed and wanted criminal was stopped by a citizen embarrassed the police. So, they charged the victim with assault, despite the law being on his side. This is just the latest example of homeowners defending themselves only to be charged with assaulting their attackers. In recent years, a number of homeowners have been charged for defending themselves, yet in each of those cases, the judge or jury found them not guilty. Of course, these not guilty decisions can't erase the pain, torment, and expense of dragging innocent homeowners through the legal system. That's why conservatives will change the law. If you have a reasonable belief that somebody has come into your home illegally, any force used against them would be lawful. If someone breaks into your home and puts your family at risk, you shouldn't have to worry about being thrown in jail for doing what you must to protect their lives. Canadians deserve leadership that'll stand on guard for their safety, not for criminals. The Canada Revenue Agency tried to give a one-day suspension to an employee who had brought in a TV antenna to watch a World Cup soccer game at work. The CRA had to repeal the suspension when it was forced to admit that watching TV during work hours was a common practice at its headquarters. The Public Sector Labor Relations and Employment Board reviewed the case and heard testimony from a manager that, quote, when there was a significant sporting event, the employer would often put a television in the boardroom so that employees and members of management could pop in and out to watch it, end quote. Last week, a Liberal minister told the Liberal government run CRA it had a 100-day deadline to improve response times at its call centers. 3 days later, CRA management laid off 250 call center employees. The people answering the phones at CRA are not watching TV in the executive boardroom. That would be senior management handpicked by the Prime Minister's office. Once upon a time, Charles Adler was a conservative radio talk show host. One day, he changed his views. We don't know what brought about the change, but he was appointed to the Senate in 2024 by Justin Trudeau. As a convert to the Church of Climate Socialism, Senator Adler likely feels the need to loudly signal his virtue to fellow believers. That's why he called conservatives cold-blooded if they didn't adopt his scripture on climate change. The senator has professed that climate change is, quote, the greatest moral crisis of our time, end quote. This great moral crisis has not deterred Senator Adler's travel one bit. During the few weeks the Senate sat in the last 2 years, Adler has flown over 44,000 kilometers. That's equal to over 100,000 kilograms of carbon. That's about 10 times more carbon than the average Canadian emits each year. Normally, when these climate cultists are called out, they'll offer to buy fake carbon credits. But since he's a senator appointed by Trudeau, he doesn't need to buy fake credits because he can't be held accountable by anyone. Recently, he's adopted a new cause, ending the export of horses for slaughter. Given his hypocritical record on climate, if he ever invites you to a barbecue, you might want to bring your own meat. Live from Ottawa, this is Cheryl Gallant.